Yo guys, what is up? Max in our Borderlands 4 video, and today we had the Gearbox PAX panel. They had an hour on stage, and they even went over that time answering a bunch of questions. And like, I posted a ton of questions on Twitter before this event, and they answered almost all of them, which is pretty crazy. And so I've got a ton of new information for you about Borderlands 4. They did not show very much new gameplay at all. So during this video, I'll be like replaying some of the old gameplay because like 99% of what they showed was old gameplay. There was a little bit of new, which I'll also be showing, but just letting you know that there's not like a ton of new actual footage of the game from this event. It was mainly kind of a big Q&A and discussion about the game. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. All right, so starting off with the biggest one, dedicated drops have been confirmed for launch. They're going to be on mini bosses, major bosses, whatever. Dedicated drops are in the game on launch. They have listened, and that is one of the biggest W's. If you aren't familiar with the term dedicated drops, basically it means that when you want to get a piece of loot, let's say you want a infinity pistol, you can go to the source of the infinity pistol and kill it until it drops. It basically means that you can go out and target the loot you want rather than killing stuff randomly out in the world and hoping you get what you want. It is such a massive W for farming, and it's great that they're coming out now and saying that they are there, which means that I hope it's a great system. Next up, raid bosses / invincibles will be returning confirmed. Now, they didn't say if they're going to be here on launch or whatnot, but they said that they'll be talking about them in the future. But we will be getting raid bosses. This is obviously a big deal. If you're a Borderlands 3 fan, you know that raid bosses took, like, I think 2 years to technically get added, or like invincibles. And so the fact that they're already on the gun with that is also great news. Next, we got to see Vex gameplay. This was kind of the only like new gameplay. Unfortunately, it was kind of only taking up half the screen. But in this gameplay, we got to see footage of Vex's new skill tree that they didn't show off in the last like state of play. And here we can see that she is summoning a bunch of minions. And when she does this action skill, she has the choice to summon specters, which have guns, or Reapers, which are like melee. And we saw that the Reapers can fly towards enemies. They kind of like hover on the ground. And then the Specters get a weapon to shoot at enemies. So Vex is going like full minion necromancer siren, which is pretty crazy. And they did mention that there's going to be a class mod in the game that will allow you to give your gear to your Specters, so it sounds like you'll be able to juice them up in endgame. Think like Zane Digiclone, but on crack. It sounds pretty crazy. As you can see, like, you have a bunch of these summons active at a time. They're really embracing kind of like the minion fantasy playstyle. They also mentioned with Vex that while also being very different from other Sirens, she's going to have an affinity for non-elemental weapons. So classically, the Sirens have been elemental characters. Vex is going to have a lot of bonuses and synergies for using non-elemental weapons, which kind of further enforces that Harlow is going to be the like elemental character, as she is the like Maliwan trooper. They didn't really talk too much about Harlow, but it's looking like Harlow's going to be the elemental siren of this game, and then Vex is going to be your like minion non-elemental. It's kind of looking a lot like Flak, to be honest, in some ways, as Flak had a lot of synergies with like Jacobs and non-elemental weapons, but that is what we learned about Vex. Now, we didn't get any actual new gameplay about Amon, but we learned that Amon is the Forge Knight, and to his name, he is able to summon the entire arsenal of weapons. AKA Amon, we've seen him summon swords, we've seen him summon axes and hammers. He's confirmed he's going to be having spears that he can summon, swords, whips, shields, axes, and hammers. He is going to be the Forge Knight in all the terms of the word, and sounds like he's going to be pretty crazy. Now, the big thing that is kind of like what we don't know is how his skill trees are going to be divided, if there's going to be like a skill tree for axes and a skill tree for hammers, or if all of these different weapons are augments of the same thing. But it sounds like you're going to be able to summon all of these different melee weapon arsenals to just attack enemies with. Sounding really cool. Next, they talked about Rafa, and they confirmed his kind of like 3 different action skills, which are he's going to have a shoulder-mounted cannon, kind of like Zane. And he's also going to have laser guns and his like blades that he can summon. But the other thing that they mentioned about him is that he is going to be the most agile Vault Hunter, with like most kind of like movement tech to him, which is kind of something that you could kind of see just by his character design. he was looking really speedy, and they've now confirmed that. Next, we learned about a new shield archetype that's going to be coming into the game. That is armor. Now, we don't know all of the details of it. There's been speculation about how cool like armor would be like for Flak in Borderlands 3, but armor is going to be a new shield archetype. And they said that this archetype of shield is going to constantly recharge while you're in combat. So previously, if your shield is recharging and you take damage, it stops. It's got a shield recharge delay and then regens again. Armor is going to be constantly regenning. And so you can, what they said is this going to be an archetype of shield to allow you to play more aggressive. And they also mentioned that they're really kind of like amping up shields in this game, and giving kind of like new shield things. So it seems like there's going to be more ways to play aggressive, and it seems like that armor shields are going to be one of them. Next, they mentioned the part system. Now, there's a few things to kind of talk about with that. One of the first really cool details of the part system, but they're doing something really interesting with it, which, you know, I've talked about the part system in previous videos, but they confirm now that purple rarity or epic rarity gear is going to be dropping with 4 weapon parts, and legendary gear is going to have less parts. So in the previous video, they kind of said that you get more parts the rarer it is. Legendary gear is going to have less parts than purple gear, but legendary gear is going to come with its own unique trait that makes it legendary. So what the system's going to look like is a super like well-rolled purple could be very valuable to you because it's going to roll with more parts, so it's got more possible crazy combinations. Legendaries are going to have 3 parts, so they're going to be like, you know, legendaries are rare, but now there's less variance on legendaries because there's only going to be coming with 3 parts, so there's less possible rolls that it could come with, which I think is great news. And then the legendaries, what's going to make them a special is that they're going to have that unique trait. They didn't really mention what that unique trait is, but like there's going to be something that sets them apart, which is really cool. And they also mentioned that there isn't any sort of like part lock. So it's not like a Torg pistol, let's say the Unkempt Herald, can't roll with a Jacob's part. They said basically, well, not basically, every single weapon in the game can roll with a TDR part and be thrown. And so there isn't sort of like restrictions on possible gear combinations. It is literally anything is possible. You can do anything with your gear build. In addition to the part notes, they confirmed that grenades are also going to be on a similar part system and can get crazy. They mentioned that now that the grenades are on cooldowns, they can balance them for doing a ton of damage, but not being used often versus like, you know, being able to spam 12 at a time. And they mentioned that you can like throw a grenade that's a nuke, and then you can get parts on it to make it like rain artillery. So it's like a nuke artillery thing. I think grenades are going to be crazy, which is great because, you know, now you're having to make a decision if you use grenades or like rocket launchers or miniguns. And then the other thing that they mentioned about the part system is they've confirmed now that Hyperion, COV, and Atlas are going to be in the game, but as only part manufacturers. Previously, we knew that Hyperion was going to be in the game as a part manufacturer. Now, COV and Atlas will also be confirmed as part manufacturers. Now, they addressed that Doll is missing here. Obviously, a lot of people love Doll, and they mentioned that we haven't seen the end of Doll, that they could be potentially returning in the future, and that our little Echo 4 bot is a Doll robot. And so there is some Doll in the game. They also brought up that there's going to be new co-op features. All of the quality of life features of Borderlands 3 co-op are going to be in the game, like co-opetition or cooperation, the ability to kind of get your game scaled specifically for you. So like I could join on a level 50 character, my friend could be playing level 12, and he'll be fighting level 12 enemies, I'll be fighting level 50 enemies. But the big new like multiplayer feature that's going to be in the game is you can fast travel directly to your teammates. And with this new world being seamless and like open world style, you can just travel around to wherever you need to go to your teammates directly to them, which is just a great system. Huge quality of life there. They did also, I just want to point out, confirm that there is no crafting system. So like what you get is what you get when it drops. I have been tweeting, and I was going to post a video about it. I recorded it. I'm not sure if I want to post it or not. Basically talking about the ability to potentially re-roll stuff in Borderlands 4 just because of the amount of part variance, so that maybe you could like re-roll a passive on a piece of gear and have everything else locked. That is now confirmed that there won't be any sort of like re-roll system for your passives or anything. What you get for your loot is what you get. The next thing they talked about is the minimap. They have seen the online discourse about the lack of minimap, and they basically just kind of explained why they're doing a compass. One of the big reasons is that they're doing a big world. This is way larger than any game that we've ever seen, and they thought that like exploring with a compass for such a large world is going to feel better when you have objectives in the distance that aren't like 100 feet away. They're like thousands and thousands of feet away. And so they've gone with the compass for the game because of that. They also said that they wanted you to be playing the game and not playing the minimap. And they've added a bunch of like quality of life features to the minimap and also to the Echo 4 so that you should have an easy time navigating. My only concern that they didn't mention, and kind of one of my favorite features of Borderlands 3, is that legendaries pop up on your minimap. So if you don't see a legendary from an enemy that gets killed by like a ricochet and a legendary drops behind you, you know because it's on your minimap. And I hope that the compass will also show indicators of like legendaries that drop if they drop nearby you, just to make sure that you don't miss them. But yeah, they have kind of confirmed and their decision making behind why they're doing a compass, but they said that like, you know, they're open to like other options. Basically, like if the feedback is strong enough or people really don't like the compass when the game drops, they could potentially include a minimap later on. Next, they confirmed set bonuses. I've looked at these for a while. We've had a few videos talking about them. Basically, the like airstrike bonus that is rolling on these new enhancements. They confirmed that they are set bonuses, but they mentioned that getting them like 3 out of 3 is a little bit more of an end game aspect. So you're probably not going to be worrying about trying to get a full set while you're leveling, which makes sense because while you're leveling, you know, you're constantly replacing gear. But when you do get that 3 out of 3 set bonus, you're going to receive a powerful bonus and a meaningful one. But they didn't mention like what the bonus is actually going to do for you. They didn't mention how many set bonuses there are, but we now have confirmation that these set bonuses are going to exist and just be another layer of build crafting. This was actually a question that I posted on Twitter a few times to the devs, but they, in their original state of play, said that you could do these like silos, and with the silos, you could reveal the location of vaults, and you'd go get vault key fragments and then go do them. And they described vaults as like high-end dungeons. And my big question was, once you get the fragments, can you replay the dungeon? And that is now confirmed to be replayable. So you can do these vaults over and over again. So it sounds like they're going to be, you know, like a form of endgame or a form of thing, that of an activity that you're doing while you're just playing the game. But the fact that they're replayable is fantastic. It means that you can do that content early, you can do it later, and you don't have to worry about when you're going to do it to like, oh, like I don't want to do this vault until I'm max level because what if I get good gear from it and then it's irrelevant? You can do them as much as you want, which is awesome. They also confirmed that Badass rank / Guardian rank is returning, but they're going to be doing it differently this time. They didn't give us a ton of details, but they said that they're going to make it so that you really have to make decisions, right? In Borderlands 3's like Badass rank, you could just get everything. You could get all of the bonuses, all of the little perks going down. And now what they're going to be doing is they want you to be making decisions to specialize your character. And they said that there's going to be powerful behaviors in Badass rank. We didn't get much more than that, but a lot of this game seems to have been inspired by ARPGs. And so I wouldn't be shocked if we see an ARPG-inspired kind of system for this. Might look like a second skill tree. It might look, who knows? But I think this is awesome. It sounds like another way to craft for your character and make their build. And instead of just getting all of the bonuses, everything maxed, you're actually going to have to make decisions on how your character wants to play. And I'm sure we'll find out more about that later. Some small notes. They also mentioned that dynamic weather is going to be in the game. There's going to be storms, rain, dust, snow. They said that they're not going to have any actual impact on gameplay. Like you're not going to be like doing less damage in a snowstorm or something like that. But they can like, you know, make the game more visible or less visible depending on like the weather storms. But those are just going to be kind of happening while you're playing. Some other notes, they said that Borderlands 4 has twice the development budget as Borderlands 3. He technically said at least twice. And so, you know, Gearbox has been getting passed around a bit, with them getting bought by Embracer and then them getting rebought by Take-Two. They've definitely received a lot of money, and it sounds like they are getting a lot of money and putting that money into Borderlands 4, which is great news. Honestly, one of my biggest issues with Wonderlands is it felt like there was zero budget for the post-launch support. We didn't get a single actual DLC for Wonderlands. So the fact that Borderlands 4 has twice the development budget as Borderlands 3 means that they're allocating a lot of resources to it. And Borderlands 3 got 2 years of content post-launch. So I'm expecting the post-launch for this game to also be really strong. The very last thing to mention is something that they got asked about, and honestly, Randy took the question pretty well, but they do not know the price for the game. Randy basically said that that is not something that is up to him. That is up to the publishers, aka Take-Two or 2K. And so he hinted that it could follow Nintendo/Microsoft's price hikes and what they're doing with the tariffs, and how they're dealing with that, or it could be less and be like a normal price game. He just said that they simply don't know yet. And so we don't have any pre-order information because the price is not known for the game yet. But Randy did do a magic trick on stage, and he gave away, he said, hey, to these people that won, that they're going to send them a collector's edition. So we at least know that there's going to be multiple tiers of pre-orders, and that there's going to be at the highest end, most likely, a collector's edition. But once again, the prices for all of these things aren't known, and the pre-order info for when we can start pre-ordering is not known yet. Guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. We got a lot out of this PAX East. I was hoping for more gameplay, but I'm so glad that we got so many questions answered. And they are going to be back literally in a month from now, basically. They said they're going to be doing a Borderlands Friends event, where they're going to have people live streaming the game and stuff. So could be pretty cool. But yeah, we'll surely get more information about that in the future. I will catch y'all in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.